How self-efficacy affects functioning. Self-efficacy is the belief we have in our own abilities, specifically our ability to meet the challenges ahead of us and complete a task successfully. General self-efficacy refers to our overall belief in our ability to succeed, which is related to our sense of self-worth or value as humans. There are four major psychological processes that are important when discussing the fact that how a person perceives their self-efficacy can have an impact on their ability to function, perform, and achieve. These four processes are cognitive processes, motivational processes, affective processes, selection processes. Now we'll look at each of these in details. Cognitive processes, we begin our ability to perform tasks or reach goals during the cognitive process of thought. We will rehearse scenes in our mind or imagine what will happen in a given scenario in an attempt to be prepared for, or even control the events that will happen in our lives. We draw conclusions, make assumptions, and predict what we think will occur. We then compare the actual results to our predictions and evaluate how well we are to predict what would happen. If you have higher self-efficacy, you will also be able to manage your analytical thinking processes better under stress than someone who doesn't. We rehearse what we think will happen in a situation by thinking about it. We then compare the reality of what happens to how well product it. Motivational processes, since self-motivation is usually generated by thought, our self-efficacy plays a role as well. We use forethought as a way to regulate our motivation by imagining what we believe we can achieve. We then use our cognitive skills to set goals for ourselves and to identify what steps are necessary to achieve those goals. There are actually three different subsets of motivational processes that come under this theory. They are casual attributions. In these instances, those with high self-efficacy understand that their failures are a result of low effort, while those with low self-efficacy will see their failure as the result of a lack of ability. Motivation can be affected in either case because in the first, a person will believe that they simply need to try harder, while in the second, a person may believe that it doesn't matter how hard they try. Outcome expectancies. In these situations, a person believes that a certain outcome will result in correspondence to a given behavior. We predict what we will get if we give a certain level of input, assistance, effort, etc. If we have high self-efficacy, we know that we simply have to give the right input to get the desired outcome and will be motivated by that understanding. If we have low self-efficacy, we either cannot understand what input we need to give or we simply don't think we are capable of giving it. Self-influence by goal setting. We will talk more about goal setting in a later video, but this is the idea that we are able to influence our own motivation by setting our own goals and challenges. We will be satisfied if we achieve our goals, and less satisfied if we do not. Again, self-efficacy plays a role because it will affect the level of challenge and goal that we will set for ourselves. If we see the goal as simply a function of the right activity combination, we will set it high when we have high self-efficacy because we will believe we can attain the goal. If we don't have high self-efficacy, we will set low goals for ourselves, if we set them at all. Affective processes. This element relates to how we perceive our own coping abilities. If we face a difficult situation and have low self-efficacy in this area, we are more likely to experience high levels of stress and depression. If we have a high level of self-efficacy related to our ability to cope, we will be in action around resolving the situation or getting through the difficult scenario rather than getting mired down and stressing over negative outcomes that are either out of our control or are very unlikely to happen. In other words, those with high self-efficacy know that they will be capable of handling whatever life throws at them. Those without it will not be capable of handling whatever life throws at them. Those without it will experience a great deal of fear and anxiety and may not be capable of coping with difficulties. This element relates to how we perceive our own coping abilities. If we believe we have good coping skills, we will actually cope with difficult situations better than if we lack self-efficacy in this area. Selection process. Finally, self-efficacy affects us by influencing the decisions that we make for ourselves in our lives. Our level of belief in ourselves and our abilities can shape the environment we choose, the educational path we opt for, and the type of career we pursue as well. If you are in an environment that you are unhappy with, one question to ask yourself is whether or not you chose that position because you did not believe in yourself enough to push yourself further in your education or the risk you took at work to prove yourself. The higher the level of self-efficacy a person has, the less likely they are to settle in a career that they don't find satisfying. You want employees with a high level of self-efficacy because it is more likely that they will have actively chosen their current profession and so will be more enthusiastic about it. See the lesson on Enhancing Your Self-Efficacy for knowledge on how to resolve issues of low self-efficacy and improve your self-efficacy. Key points. 4 major psychological processes influence how a person perceives their self-efficacy and can have an impact on their ability to function, perform and achieve. These 4 processes are cognitive processes, motivational processes, affective processes and selection processes. With cognitive processes, we rehearse scenes in our mind or imagine what will happen in a given scenario in an attempt to be prepared for, or even control, the events that will happen in our lives. With motivational processes, we use forethought to regulate our motivation by imagining what we believe we can achieve. Affective processes relate to how we perceive our own coping abilities. If we believe we have good coping skills, we will actually cope with difficult situations better than when we believe that we lack coping skills. Selection processes suggest that our level of belief in ourselves and abilities can shape the environment we choose, the educational path we opt for, and the type of career we pursue. For further support, at Talent and Skills HuB, you can be supported by our instructors and mentors on employability skills and other personal and professional development. You can book an appointment for one-to-one or group tutoring through our website, ts-hub.com.